You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging out with you guys. We are actually still down here in beautiful Tampa, Florida, where it is 70 degrees out here, and I'm actually joined out on this beautiful little veranda balcony with none other than Mitchell Gordy with Mitchell's Lawn Care.
The one and only.
The one and only, bud. How we doing?
Doing great, man.
Awesome.
I'm glad to be back on the show.
Absolutely. Second or third time?
Can't remember.
Doesn't even matter. It's a blur.
I know of one. I don't know if I snuck in on something else. I don't know. This
is true. Well, it's good to have you on the show.
Yes, sir.
We're going to get a little season update. It's been about 6-7 months since you were probably on the last episode.
Yes.
And a lot's going on with your life. You guys
a lot.
A lot. You got a YouTube channel now. You have a house that's getting built. A
new shop. Still building. Yeah.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of fires on the. A lot of fires going. A lot of pots on the stove.
What do they say? Irons in the fire?
Whatever.
Pots on the stove. We got the analogies for days.
There's a lot of biscuits in the oven.
Biscuits in the oven. Well, there's a biscuit in the oven.
You got a biscuit in the oven.
This is true. So there's a lot of firsts for us, and it's funny. You and I were talking.
You're going to go on the same journey as I'm going.
I was going to say we're going to build the barn, build the house, have a baby. Any babies?
No babies.
No babies. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get to that.
Maybe fur babies, but
fur babies.
Yeah.
I got a fur baby.
No real babies.
There you go. Well, babies could have fur.
Yeah.
I don't know. So maybe I got another fur baby.
This is getting awkward.
So, all right. Well, if you guys are hanging with us, you guys know that we are down here at the first ever Green Industry Hype House, and this was a brainchild of Paul Jameson, where we just wanted to come on down to, first off, a warm place, somewhere we can kind of all get away. A lot of us are in the Midwest and the North. We're all dealing with 20, 30, 40 degree weather. It's kind of nasty. Mid-February, which is kind of like that low point of winter, where it's just cold, it's dark, it's dreary, it's that seasonal depression, Mitchell. It's a real thing.
The gray weather.
The gray weather, man. It's always cloudy in Michigan. I think we get 200 days of clouds.
That's horrible.
It's horrible. And down in North Carolina, it's like 200 days of sun. So
I wish.
It's something like that, though. It's
more been raining and I think, it's like the why me, but because I've got this construction going on, it's literally raining every 2 days.
Oh, gosh.
And it's everything's behind schedule.
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah. And next week, where we really got to hit it hard and get finished.
Yeah.
It's supposed to rain every day.
Oh, my gosh. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, we're down here. It's not raining right now. It's 70 degrees.
It's gorgeous.
It's 70 degrees. It's sunny. Those of you guys that live in Florida, beautiful weather. But it's also ironic because I have a lot of guys that live in Florida DMing me on Instagram, and they go, man, you guys are enjoying the 2-3 months when it's like 60, 70, 80. But they go, in the summer, it's 100 degrees. It's brutal.
Can't deal with it.
Yeah, it's brutal. So you guys are, so I might be a snowbird, I think they call that. I'd love to get property in Florida at this point. And it's just so nice down here. But white sandy beaches, the palm trees are kind of swinging right here. I mean, literally, it's beautiful. I mean, it looks like you're in some
postcard worthy.
It really is.
Yeah.
And not to rub that in your guys' face by any means, because trust me, a week ago it was 0 degrees back in Michigan, and my guys were giving me updates doing plow runs with 2 or 3 inch clipper snowstorms coming through. But here's the bottom line, is that while we're down here, there is a reason to be here. We wanted to cross-collab with content and different people. We met guys I've never met before, Andy Mulder, Josh Sutton, Mitchell. We don't live next to each other, obviously, so we only get to see each other once or twice a year, GIE. Maybe our live event, that kind of stuff. So it's really cool to just catch up with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And then hopefully say something of value and, keep you guys educated, entertained, maybe get a couple nuggets in there of just content, whether it's video or podcasting. So let's do this. We're going to jump into it, hear a little bit more about Mitchell's story, maybe some different updates like he was just alluding to. Let's do this. Let's kick it back over to Marty in the ATL, which is usually pretty warm and sunny. And we'll get those updates and we'll come right on back.
Ballard Innovative Products is a full line of gear for the lawn and landscape professional. From mower gear, safety gear, trailer racks, equipment securement, equipment servicing tools, aerators, mower blades, X-blades, aluminum baggers, and much more to make you efficient, effective, safe, and profitable in the field. Check out Ballard-Inc.com to help dominate and elevate your business. Ballard Innovative Products. With over 20 years of selling accessories and 30 years in the business, we're sure that we've got something you can't live without. We appreciate the support and look forward to serving you this season. Stay safe and keep grinding, friends. And don't forget to use Brian's 10 to save 10% at Ballard-Inc.com.
Hey guys, Paul Jameson here, the author of Cut That Grass and Make That Cash. You're not listening to no raggedy podcast. You're listening to a great podcast. It's all about lawns, lessons, and life. It's the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
All right, good deal, guys. Well, let's just jump right back into it. Like Mitchell was saying just a quick minute ago, he's got a lot of great things going on. If you guys don't know Mitchell's background, well, I'll let you go into your background, but law enforcement, he's got a house, he's got the barn. You got it all going on, bud.
Got it all going on, man.
Give these guys the lay of the land. What's new?
Yeah, I don't want to step on the other episode's toes that we did, but just real quick, I'm 15 years with the North Carolina Highway Patrol, 11 years with my business. So I'm balancing those two aspects of life, and right now my business is part-time. Mitchell's Lawn Care is part-time. It's no longer full-time. But even when we did our episode over the summer, that change had already been made.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to change that. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, amen. So give these guys a lay of the land. You had a small business. You got started cutting grass to just kind of make ends meet and
supplement my income. I started the company during the Great Recession we had, 2009, 2010 area.
Yeah.
So it was just a way to supplement my income with the patrol because my salary was frozen. Yeah. I was blessed to have a structured job, career, but our salary was frozen, and at the time I was only like 2-3 years into the department, so pay wasn't great, but it was stable. I had food on my table, roof over my head, so no complaints.
That was a good thing back then.
Of course,
people like all the teachers, all the automotive guys where we lived, you weren't getting any raises, but people are like, "What's my raises here?" They're like, "You're lucky you have a job."
Yeah, you got a paycheck coming in. Keep it quiet.
Very different climate than we're in right now. Last couple of years. Yeah.
So I used that time I capitalized on it and started my company.
Nights and weekends?
The
cutting grass.
Not at night.
Okay.
But that'd be different.
Yeah.
It was 1 or 2 day a week, and just made some flyers on a Microsoft Word program, like 8.5 by 11. Didn't try to do anything fancy,
Right.
Used clip art, the little guy on the riding mower cutting the grass that was like way taller than the mower.
Right.
Passed them out in my parents' neighborhood because I had come from another county back home. I transferred.
Okay.
And I was actually living with my parents for 10 months while I found a home.
How old were you back then, by the way? 25?
Let's see, that was 25, 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to move back in with mom and dad, which nobody wants to do that. But
Right.
Those 10 months I was able to just, bank some money to get a down payment for a home and find a home. But I literally went like 10-year-old again. I walked around my parents' neighborhood that I actually used to cut grass in with a little push mower for $25.
Yeah.
And started, sticking these little flyers on mailboxes, which is probably illegal, but got a few phone calls.
Yeah. And just started cutting grass from there.
Yeah.
So you had, what was your shift schedule was like 2 on, 1 off or something like that, right? Or how's that work?
The long week was 2 on, 2 off, and then I worked the weekend.
Okay.
The following week it was 2 off, 2 on, and then off the weekend.
Okay. One question I get a lot from people is like, how do you deal with customers that, let's say it's a Wednesday cut, right? Like if it's a full service lawn care company, hey, every Wednesday Mrs. Johnson's house gets mowed, right? What do you do if you can't make it Wednesday to Wednesday? Like if you got to come a day early, got to come a day late. Were people cool with that? Do you explain that to them?
Well, we all know in this industry, regardless what you do, you can clean glass, gutter, whatever you do, paint. Communication is key.
Okay. Yep.
So from day one, I tell these people, this is the deal.
Yep.
So they know from day one what to expect. And if it's a problem, then they're not a customer.
Okay.
But, as long as you're upfront with people and you communicate them, I never had a problem.
Did you ever get anybody that didn't sign up because they were like, well, I don't want in their mind, the weekend warrior guy? Like to me on my show, I say weekend warrior is a good thing.
Nothing wrong with that.
For sure. Because I want to see a lot of those weekend warrior guys go full time or at least just make money, cutting grass as part-timers. But did you have anybody that said, no, I need a full-time guy or nothing like that?
I never did.
That's cool.
No.
That's cool. But you explained that though.
Yes. And the thing is, even from day one, I was always like the full service guy for maintenance wise.
Yep.
I didn't do large landscaping installs. I would do seasonal color installs.
Okay.
Your pansies and impatiens and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I would do that. But anything maintenance related, trimming hedges, mulch, whatever, I was their guy.
Yeah.
So all that was communicated up front. And I would always ask, if I service your property on Wednesday this week, it may be Thursday next week, and it would flip-flop Wednesday, Thursday.
Sure.
Do you have any problem with that? and they would say no.
Okay.
So
that's really cool.
Now, when I was running full time, of course, we had a set schedule. You know, Mondays were always Monday unless weather deemed otherwise. So that was different.
We'll go into that story then. So a little recap for people that might not have listened to your show. We got a lot of new listeners to the show. Let's say 6 months ago, you were telling your story, but the last 3-4 years, you had this ramp up, and then you just realized what? What did you realize?
I realized that I was stressing out a lot.
Yeah.
And I realized, actually, I didn't realize. Friends and family around me realized that, you know, Mitchell, if you don't change something, you know, you're going to have a heart attack or something bad's going to happen. You know, like, we can tell it's like taking its toll on you.
Give them the context. What were you doing?
It was the fact that, you know, it had nothing to do with money or finances.
Yep.
But even though that was always on the back burner, like, I had to keep enough work going to keep my guys working, you know, because they needed food on their table and a shelter.
Yep.
But I never really stressed about that because I've always been so motivated and just a hard hitter that never was a problem.
Sure.
But it was the fact that, you know, and I made some mistakes in my business now that I have stepped back and I've had time to step back and look at it, that I put out a video on my YouTube channel a couple months back. If you want to go from part-time to full-time, and things to do that I wish I had done.
Sure.
But our schedule was so jam-packed that's how I justified it in my mind. Like, I know I can keep these guys busy if our schedule is busy.
Right.
I did not allow room for flexibility. You know, if there was a equipment problem, rain day or whatever, guess what? You're working on Saturday.
Yep.
And you know you have employees. You tell them they got to work on Saturday. They're always like, man, you know, I had this plan, da-da-da-da.
It gets tough.
There was always a little bit of feedback, sometimes positive, sometimes negative.
Did you say feedback?
Yeah.
I like that. Feedback, that's good.
But
it's called complaining back at home.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
But the fact of the matter is, like,
which, by the way, I gotta interrupt you for if you don't mind. For us in the spring,
it's your show.
Well, I'm just telling you this. This is what, right? Whatever. We just mute his mic, right? That's funny. What we do in the spring, we tell our guys Saturdays are like mandatory. Like, they expect to work Saturdays. You don't get Saturdays off until June because there's so much work to do.
Yeah.
That's our Christmas rush. And if somebody gets started on the crew and they're like, you know, I can't work Saturday, I go, then you don't work here, bro.
Exactly.
Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah.
Like we got the Christmas rush. And so it's Monday through Saturday. Now I try on Saturday to get us done by, you know, noon, 1, 2.
Of course.
You know, so we're not doing like a 40-yard mulch jump on Saturday.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
Nobody wants to do that. And I don't want to kill the guys, but you're working Saturday, bro. Like, we're working till noon, 1, 2, because we have to get the mulch in.
Yeah.
We have to get the flowers in. Now, after that, we kind of like level out and chill out. And then, you know, during the regular week, the mowing, we're getting done. Let's say we typically get done at 4 or 5 in the spring. We're getting done at 2, 3, and 4. So I'm like, look, it'll go your way all summer.
Oh, yeah.
But that first 8, 10 weeks in the spring, we got to work.
Give a little, take a little.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you ever like are hiring people and they're like, I can't get my guys to work Saturday, well, let them know when you're hiring them. Dude, Saturday is part of this job.
It is.
Like, in the first 10, 12 weeks of the season. And I know some companies, it's mandatory Saturday, like, the whole year, you know, because you got, like we always talk about in the Midwest, you got 6, 7, 8 months to make a year's worth of income.
Exactly.
So it's just having that expectation. But anyway, not to cut you off.
I'm not close enough to the mute button.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think you strategically do that.
Yeah, right.
So there was that aspect, catching flack from them.
Yeah.
About that, even though, like you just said, I always put that up front because communication with the client is just as important as communication with your staff.
Absolutely.
So that was always up front. That doesn't mean that you're not going to catch some flack. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
so feedback.
So yeah, feedback, positive or negative.
Well,
anyways,
let me ask you, why did you get bigger? Why did you get bigger? Because a lot of these guys listen in. So you went from a highway patrol officer, cutting grass a couple days a week, and then that was kind of the gig for sounds like
6 years,
5 or 6 years. Okay, and then you decided to get a little bit bigger.
It happened out of default, and it wasn't planned.
Okay,
I didn't go into it thinking, I did not go into it wanting to expand.
Okay,
that was not my 5-10 year plan.
Okay. Some big accounts make themselves available, what was that?
I don't want to say what I had a problem with but I never said no.
Yeah.
And as long as that property was in my service area, I said yes. And it just happened that, kept adding on. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm maxed out.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I got a phone call one day from a property management company, and they're like, hey, we heard about you from somewhere. Like, they contacted me. Normally it's like you got to go to them.
Right.
But somebody on the board at this HOA company heard or whatever, something with Mitchell's Lawn Care. I got a phone call. Hey, this is such and such with Lambeth Management, blah, blah, blah. We've got this large HOA property, and I knew it was going to be very lucrative for my company. And I kept looking at it, and I was like, crunching the numbers on it, and I was like, man, this is nice.
You're like
what am I going to do?
You're like the little monkey in Aladdin.
Yeah.
With the red jewel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was like looking at the numbers, and I'm like, man, this is something I've never seen before.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, how do I say no to this?
Sure.
I can't. If
Sure.
you say no, you're an idiot.
Okay.
You know, but Mitchell, you can't handle this, bro.
Yeah.
You can't. It's just you.
Yeah.
Even if I got rid of all my other contracts, it was still too big of a property.
Right.
But thankfully, you know, things happen for a reason.
Sure.
And it was kind of a blessing in disguise that a really, really good lifelong friend of mine was in a position to where he could step in as my very first crew leader.
Okay.
My very first employee.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, John, this is what we've got. This
Right.
is the opportunity I've been presented. I'm going to submit the contract. If I get it, can you do it?
Right.
And he said, well, let me speak to my wife, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He called me back that night. He's like, I'm all in.
Okay.
So sent the email, sent the quote. 2-3 days later, they're like, hey, congratulations, you got it. So then I'm like, now what?
Now you gotta make hay.
Yeah. So when we went from that position, and like I said, it was by default. I didn't plan for that to happen.
Sure.
I hired John, and I promised him. I said, and we sat down and talked about it. I said, John, I'm going to promise you a 40-hour-a-week salary.
Okay.
Okay. But I don't have 40 hours a week work for you right now.
Right.
Okay. So in essence, you know, somebody listens like, well, what the heck did you do?
Yeah.
You know, I had to sacrifice and actually be an investor in my own company from my highway patrol salary.
Yep.
So I used that to supplement or subsidize
Yep.
my business to make sure that I could retain my crew leader.
Sure.
And for most of 2016, that's what I had to do.
Okay.
But I had to make that sacrifice.
Now,
And I
was this just like seed money till that contract initiated, maybe like 6 weeks out, or what do you mean?
like it was the money I had coming in from my 1 to 2 days of properties that I already had.
Yeah.
Plus this property, which filled up just John doing it because he was my only guy.
Yeah.
It ended up being a 2-day property for him.
Okay.
I ended up having it for almost 5 years.
Okay.
And then it got to be where, you know, my 3 guys could do it in like 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, cool.
You know,
Yeah.
but anyways, but that first full-time year, John was only working like 3 days a week.
Sure.
But I was paying him for 5.
Right.
You know, until, you know, more calls started coming in that year.
Backfill.
And we finished the year with John working 5 days a week.
Okay.
You know, so like I said before, you know, I just kept hammering it in that, you know, we were going to make this happen.
Sure.
And then
It's interesting, though, you say that because I've said many times on my show, and I feel the same way, is hire and then backfill the work versus getting the wrong guy because you got all this big work.
Yep.
And I've learned that from Corey. I've learned that from Troy. I've learned that from many, many people. It seems to be there's only like kind of 2 options out there, right? Like hire the wrong guy potentially, and then you get all his work and you just throw him into the fire pit or into the frying pan, into the fire, whatever they say. And the other option is get the right guy and then get the work. But that, like you said, you could be eating $100 a week in salary to have this guy work. You know, like we're kind of in that same boat right now with Rob. Like we've got enough work to keep him making us money, if you will. But at the same point, I'm like, he's only working physically 32 hours in the business. That's like our regular work week. But I'm paying him for 40, you know? And so I told Liz this upcoming season on Friday, like we got to have these odd jobs or just get more work for Rob to work that 5th day. And I don't want to get tons of more mowing because that's going to get bumped to Saturday. But like whether it's pulling weeds, passing out yard signs and marketing, just power washing equipment, you know, wiping the trucks down, just something productive.
Yeah.
You know, but so in the beginning, you kind of had to eat that cost a little bit till you backfill that work.
exactly. And that's how I did
And
it.
that happens.
And I never wanted, you know, it's a huge mistake to make to put somebody in place and then try to find work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's suicide.
Totally.
But it got to where John was like, I would like to have some help.
Yeah.
You know, because I was relying on him. Like, hey, you're out there. I'm not out there with you, Bo. You know, you got to let me know what's going on. You know,
right.
Because calls were still coming in.
Sure.
You know, like people on the HOA board. What do? They own businesses, or they have houses in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, y'all were doing a good job for our HOA.
Yeah.
Cut our grass. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay, let's do it. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And then John's like, dude, I'm sinking here. I need some help, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, tell me what you need. Tell me what you want. He's like, I could use somebody 2, maybe 3 days a week. So then we started with my full-time guy and then a part-time guy.
Okay.
You know, so I put a part-time guy in place. And then John's like, of course, on the back part of that, I'm still saying yes to phone calls coming in, you know, yes. And then John's like, hey, Bo, what was his name at the time? Well, let's just say Adam. I can't remember his name, but anyway, he didn't make it that long. But he's like, hey, man, you know, me and Adam need some work.
Yeah.
Ernest needs some help. And I'm like, tell me what you need.
Right.
You know, he's like, I think he needs to be full-time. So I went to him, can you do full-time?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I can. He ended up flaking out. But,
okay.
So I had to find somebody else. But then the work dictated my staff.
Right.
You know, and then fast forward to 2019, it ended up that I had 3 full-time guys.
So this beast kind of like was morphing or forming into something that you weren't intentional about.
Never planned.
You didn't necessarily want. It wasn't a bad thing. You were making money.
Yeah.
But you were just like, what is this thing turning into? And you didn't get started for any of that. Not necessarily. Mm-hmm. Did you ever have that thought about going full time and leaving the highway patrol, or what?
I did. 2018 was John's a real person.
Yeah.
He's still a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He went through some personal things in 2018, and he had a lifelong dream to always live at the coast.
Okay. And
where we live is Central North Carolina. And anybody knows anything about North Carolina, there's the Outer Banks and Wilmington, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Beautiful area. His lifelong dream was to live at the coast.
Okay.
And he had some personal things go on in his life, and it kind of motivated him to finally act on that, you know?
Okay.
And he respectfully, you know, I always told him, like, business is business. And then when you go home, like, we're still buddies.
Yeah,
you know? But, you know, he called me and he's like, I've been thinking about some stuff, and I just want to let you know what I've been thinking.
Yeah.
Well, you know, me, the business owner, is going, oh, crap.
Right.
You know, damage control, what do I do?
Yep.
But then the buddy of mine was like, dude, I would never stand in your way. Do it. How can I help you?
1,000%.
You know? So I was like, listen, get me to the end of the season.
Yeah.
You know, get me to the off season.
Yep.
And then we'll make it work.
Sure.
You know? So long story short, he ended up moving to the coast.
Okay.
So I knew going into 2019, I had to find a new crew leader, whatever. And I was thinking about the time that I was like, if I can get a new crew leader that, you know, is dedicated to the business. I had my other 2 full-time guys. Money was good.
Yeah.
I was making more money with the business than the highway patrol.
Yeah.
I was like, if I could devote 100% of my time to this company, sky's the limit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was like, before I make that decision, let's see how 2019 goes.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And it ended up being my worst year ever.
Really?
It was my most profitable, but that doesn't mean the best.
Not happy.
No, I was not happy.
Yeah.
I was stressed. There was always issues, and not going into those in any detail, but I was the most stressed out I'd ever been in my life.
Sure.
And to the point where people were bringing it to my attention, friends and family.
And to be honest with you, that's usually when a lot of us are pretty hard-headed, and probably not you, maybe more me, right? And like that's usually when your wife starts making like points like, hey, you never used to snap back or blow up, or
exactly,
or like
you don't know you're doing it.
You really don't, because sometimes you're so like hungry for success or profit, or I got to get this thing off the ground, right? Like and I'm to a fault for sure. Like I can just cut things out, and then sometimes you realize, hey, you haven't seen your family for 2 months, or you keep blowing off Sunday dinners with the family, and that's fine because there's times when you got to hustle, right? But then you realize, man, like. Usually people tell you, dude, you're kind of getting short. Is everything okay? Like you're kind of, you seem tired or irritable, and that's one of those things where you always got to kind of evaluate that. My friend Mike Bedell talks about this all the time. Him and I, we have really transparent conversations, and he's like, there's been years where I just realized I wasn't happy, and I'm like, what am I doing all this for? For other people's expectations, or for profit, or maybe if I really try that much harder, I can make 10% more money, but really I'm 30% less happy.
Yeah.
And you really got to keep a pulse on this stuff.
Yeah. Something that drove me those few years is I never, like, rewinding back, I never set goals or aspirations to be full time.
Okay.
But once I've always been goal oriented.
Sure.
You know, so I was like, all right, well, let's see if I can do 75,000 this year.
Yeah.
You know, killed it.
Yeah.
Well, if I can do that, let's see if next year I can do 100,000. Smoked it. All right, let's see if I can do 150,000. Smoked it. And then 2019, I was like, I wonder if I can do 200. And I killed 200,000, like over it.
Yeah.
Like 220.
Yeah.
So it was my best year ever.
Sure.
But worst year ever. And I decided, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
It's funny. I saw outside looking in because I saw your Instagram. You know, we're buds, and I was like, man, Mitchell's getting pretty big, and I'm like, he's still doing the trooper thing. You know, I was like, and I know because I'm like working, and I got a couple of different things going on. I'm like, man, that guy's doing a lot, bro. Like that's just one, you know, a couple guys with you, obviously, but I'm like, I hope he's happy, you know. And I just remember like thinking this thought, like this is a couple years ago.
I wasn't, man.
I maybe I should have said something back in the day. I'm like, hey, bro, how's things going at home? Like, you all right? Everything cool? Just to check up on a bud, you know. And but it's like the same thing. People do that to me. Like, hey, man, how's things going behind the scenes? I'm like, I'm good. And like, how's things really going? I'm like, actually, everything's upside down, you know. Like, I just, you know, everything. No, it's never been that bad, thankfully. But it is one of those things where you do like care about people, you know.
Yeah.
But
like I didn't realize it in 2019. Anybody that knows me, like really knows me. I'm huge into motorcycles.
Yeah.
And at one point I had 5 of them. Yes, excessive, but that was my thing, you know.
Oh, that's like saying having more than one gun's excessive, man.
Yeah.
That's just not a thing.
But like motorcycles is my escape.
Yeah.
You know, just get on it, ride. There's no GPS. Just ride. Wherever the road takes you, it takes you. It's a great release. And I rode the least amount of my riding career in 2019. I didn't have time.
Right.
I was so, on my days off from the patrol,
You're exhausted.
the business was like just sucking the life out of me.
Right.
You know, the guys would call, my friends would be like, hey, you know, we're going to go ride on whatever day. And I'm like, yeah, I'm off from the patrol. I'd love to go, but I've got to do this. I got to help the guys. They're behind, you know?
Yep.
And it just kept, it took over my life.
Yeah.
And then I had to come to Jesus meet with myself, talking to Hannah, and I was like, I got to make a change.
Right.
You know, and I talked to the guys, and I'm like, this is what's going to happen next year.
Yeah.
You know, and it was the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
Life is enjoyable again.
Give these guys the lay of the land. Where are you at now? What are you excited about now? We're going into 2020. What is it? 2021?
Something like that.
I don't even know, bro.
Whatever year you want it to be.
It's a blur. Well, let's not redo 2020.
No.
2020 was a good year for me, though. I could do a few more 2020.
Well, I just said it was one of the best years of my life.
Yeah, but man, I don't know. With everything else in 2020, I can opt out of that. But 2021, I guess, is what we're going into, Gizo Pete's. Where are you at this year, and what do you plan to be tackling, or more or less, up, down, left, right?
Well, just the backstory from 2019 to 2020, I dropped 60 some properties.
Okay.
From like I think it was 87 to 17.
Wow.
Of those 17, I subcontracted 3 of them. So
Okay.
In 2020, I myself managed 15 accounts.
Yeah.
For 2021, I was just asked this. You know, what's your 3, 5, 10-year plan?
We're going to find out about Deputy Gordy's plans here in just a moment. Yeah, I had to do that. Everybody else gets it wrong, too. The continuation of Brian's interview with Mitchell Gordy in just a moment. Thank you to all the lawn bros that have been reaching out to Brian with your endorsements of the whole ball of wax.
Hey guys, this is Joseph with Accurate Landscaping from Middletown, New York. I just wanted to take a moment to say how Brian's Launchpreneur Academy and his whole ball of wax bundle has helped me in my business so much. Last year, I grossed just under $65,000 in my first year in business, and without all of his great content and the whole ball of wax bundle from the Launchpreneur Academy, I don't know if I would have been able to make half as much.
Thank you, Joseph. The fastest way to profitability and a great start to the season is with this amazing offer from LaunchpreneurAcademy.com. For $999, you get every training program on the site, including the postcards and door hangers. Those are bundled in as well. And Brian's also teaming up with Caleb and Brittany Allman at the Hardscape Academy and throwing in their How to Install Pavers and How to Install Retaining Walls training courses, plus the Build Your Future Q&A webinar that features both the Allmans and the Fullertons. Guys, the retail value of this, $3,000, but for a third of that, it's yours. So take advantage of this limited time promotion at LawEntrepreneurAcademy.com or use the link in the podcast description. And now back to Brian and his special guest, North Carolina's finest, Mitchell Gordy.
For 2021, I was just asked this, what's your 3, 5, 10-year plan to maintain?
Okay.
I have no aspirations of ever in the foreseeable future doing what I came from.
Yeah. Crazy.
But I'm actually taking my 15 accounts down to 5.
Okay.
And I'm focusing on, and we talked about this the other night on a live stream, but I am focusing on square footage and acreage, not accounts.
Okay.
Which is, the next time anybody listening, the next time you get that urge to ask somebody, how many accounts do you service and how many yards you mowing?
Right.
Don't ask that question.
Right.
Ask how much square footage or how much acreage are you servicing and what time and how many people. Like, that's a legit question.
Right.
So my goal for 2021 is to reduce windshield time, make my route density even more dense.
Amen.
And increase the acreage that I'm mowing in a day, not my accounts. So I'm going to have 5 properties, and of those 5 properties are my 2.
Yeah.
Because I have a house.
Yeah.
And I have a new property that we can go into.
Yeah.
So those are 2 accounts. So I'm only going to have really 3 paying accounts.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited about it, and it's like a huge breath of fresh air.
Amen.
And those 5 properties are going to keep me busy 8 to 9 hours in one day a week, and I couldn't be happier.
That's awesome. So one day, hopefully one full day.
One full day a week.
That's awesome, man. Hey, it's funny. We just send out all of our lawn inquiry forms, our lawn agreement forms, and then our rate adjustment letter, and everybody's rate got jacked up 10, 12, 15%. A little bit of like, I just don't care anymore. A little bit of, I know taxes and fuel and all this mess is going to go up anyway, and so just kind of hedging that.
It already is.
It already is. We know that. And I told Liz, she goes, well, what if we lose, we go from 90 accounts down to 60 or 50? I said, honestly, I pray to Jesus that happens. I said, like,
I don't blame you.
I said, literally, we'll probably make the same amount of money. Me and my guys will be happier. I'll be able to do a little bit more. Like, I kind of enjoy like the fun, like light landscaping stuff. I don't mind doing 4, 6, 8 yard mulch jobs. I don't mind doing aerations. I don't mind small flower installs, like the little micro jobs I clean up on. And because of my route density, my guys, like my site one's a quarter mile from my trailer, half mile. My trailer's a half mile from my route. My route's a half mile from site one.
That's awesome.
All of my stuff is right there. So if somebody wants 10 or 15 flats of flowers installed, we can do that. Well, I guess to get the flowers, it's like 20 minutes away, but you know what I mean? It's like, we can go do a $450, $500 job and make $200, $300 on it in 2 hours. And I'm happy. The guys are happy. And, if they do that for 3-4 hours, we can go down to my 5 or so commercial sites we manage. They're within 10 minutes. They're 5 minutes down the road. And we go clean out the landscape beds at $75 an hour for the weed pulling. And we literally can just chill the heck out for real and make $500, $700, $800 grossing days. And it's like the overhead is nothing. The expense is nothing to that.
It breaks up the monotony of the assembly line work.
Totally.
The mow, edge, blow, go.
Yeah.
It's assembly line work. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But over time,
it can wear you down.
It becomes monotonous.
Dude, 3, maybe 4 years ago, we were doing 130, I think it was 132 weeklies between my trailer parks, my HOAs, my everything, and I learned a little bit from Bedell, about this stuff, and he's like, why don't you be a little bit more full service? You don't have to do everything. And we don't.
Branch out.
But just branch out. He goes, go wide instead of just going deep with people. And I said, that's a great point. So we do a little bit more stuff. We don't do everything by any means. Because I hate hedge pruning, for example. I don't do any pruning. We'll pull and prune the perennials and cutbacks for like spring and fall.
Yeah.
But hedge pruning, I've got a couple good guys, my friend Brandon, another friend Chaz. And I'm like, look, these guys, they love that stuff.
Yeah.
For me,
it's their niche.
Yeah, for me, my shoulders, they get messed up. I'm not doing it. So I still do what I like to do, but I like.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, we're happier though. Like that's a metric that I've been trying to measure. And now we're still working our butt off. Don't get me wrong. We're still sweating 85-degree days just like you guys are. But there's a new metric that we've been trying to measure the last few years, and that's being happy. It's like it's like not having a heart attack at 40.
Exactly.
And that's stuff that's
the direction I was headed.
Dude, right. Yeah, I mean, my friend Bedell said the same thing. It runs in his family. He's like, I can't be freaking out and stressing out about just always making green stinky paper. You know, it takes the fun out of the business too.
It does.
You know, well, let's do this. Let's turn the corner here. Let's take maybe 5 minutes. We'll button this thing up. Talk about your plans. I know, and here's why. A lot of this is going to make it to YouTube. So if you guys want to catch up with the excitement and the adventure that Mitchell's got going on right now,
it's all on my channel.
You got to check out his channel, which is I'm so excited to see you have one. You're 6-7 months into this thing.
July 31st, if I'm not mistaken, was my first upload.
Okay.
Of last year.
So we're 6 months.
Yes.
Just plus or minus. And you
You're
got
better at math than I am.
Whatever, dude. You got 40, 50, 60 videos by now, probably.
I think north of 70.
70 videos. So you're cranking this thing out.
2 a week. My schedule is, and I've done the research. I've asked the questions. Like anything I've done in my life, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to overdo it.
Right.
And I'm going to do it right. So I have an upload schedule. That way people know when and what to expect from me.
Right.
And if they don't see something on that day, reach out to me and ask if I'm still alive, if I'm okay. You know, check on me. I don't mind.
Much better than my philosophy. I post
yeah.
like whenever I just get around to it.
So
I'm awful.
every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I should have a video coming out as long as I'm in good health.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, you know, I guess vlog or whatever, take everybody along on this adventure of me building the steel building.
Yeah.
And when we go into our custom home, I know it's not lawn care related, but it's my channel. You can either watch or not watch, you know what I mean?
Amen.
But
who doesn't love watching a custom home though?
But I want to, honestly, like I told Hannah weeks ago, I was like, I'm going to go back and watch these videos,
Amen.
You know, because it's there for me and her.
Amen.
You know, it's our adventure. And those that want to come along for the ride, amen. Come on, you know. And if you got any questions or tips that you can offer us, hey, we just built a building or we just built a house.
Yep.
We did this. Don't do that.
Yep.
You know, help us out, and you know, and you too, because you know we're a little bit ahead of you in the process.
Absolutely.
You know, hopefully we can bounce ideas off of each other.
Oh, I plan to pick your brain.
So I just got goosebumps because I'm so excited about this adventure, man.
You know who's good at that? Jeremy Connect. Jay Jacobs over there in
they're awesome
I think
dudes.
he's in South Illinois.
Yeah,
great. I mean, great people. Liz and I've asked him so many questions about his home over the last 12 months behind the scenes. Hey, what would you do different? Anything? And he had really good suggestion. Like he was like, yeah, here's where we messed up. And he's got a beautiful home. Like there's we try to invite him down here, and he goes, "What'd you guys pick this $2 million home for in Santa Maria Island or whatever?" And I said, "Well, we had to incentivize you to leave your mansion to come down to this mansion, right?" And he's like, "Shut up, dude," But I said, "Well, I know you wouldn't leave your palace." I said, "We should do the hype house at his place." You know what I mean? Because he's got a beautiful setup. But yeah, it's cool to see like get to pick the brain of other folks that are doing it, right? So you got the steel building.
Yes.
Give these guys the lay of the land. You know
that's my. It's been my dream come true. Years ago, like, and I think it was like right when I started doing the full-time thing. The business quickly outgrew my setup at home.
Right.
You know, I had a little 8x10 building that was at the property when I bought it. And within like no time, that thing was maxed out.
Right.
So I got rid of it, bought my 12x24 shop. Of course, didn't take long. Then
is that those gray ones that I see?
The gray ones, yeah.
Okay.
And that's on my channel too. If you want to see those, I did a little tour of those.
Yeah.
My shop quickly started to fill up, and it was changing over from a shop to storage, which I couldn't have.
Right.
So I added another 12x20 building.
Yep.
So I have a 12x24 and a 12x20 in my backyard.
Okay.
So one is a shed for like seasonal equipment, spares, whatever, backup. And then my shop is still my shop now.
Okay.
But anyways, my goal and dream was to one day, and this was still the full-time business mentality, was to have a place that the entire business could be under one roof. Park my truck and trailer in, everything under one roof for ease. And I started to put that process, or started to put those dreams and aspirations, into action. Not knowing what 2020 would bring, with going back part-time.
Sure.
So the dream is still coming true. I'm building a 50x60 steel building.
Yeah.
With a 12x60 lean-to on one side. So total under roof is 3,750 square feet.
Wow. That's awesome.
it's great, but people are quickly catching on to it. Yeah,
that's big.
They're like, why does one man need that much? He doesn't. Okay, a part-time guy does not need that much room for a part-time business.
Sure.
So Hannah and but I didn't want, like, the blueprints were already done.
Yeah.
The building was already on order.
Yeah.
And we are going to use some of that space. And again, all this is on my channel, like, full disclosure.
Yeah.
Some of that space is going to be for personal use.
Yeah.
With the way things are in the world right now, I'm big into physical fitness and working out. We want our own facility at our house. Yeah. So we're going to have a 2-story gym in the building. Yeah. Like weights and stuff downstairs. Yeah. Cardio upstairs.
Little CrossFit gym thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. And then God knows what'll help, happen in the building. It's
when we build ours, we hope to have a couple machines in there as well.
Yeah.
Like vending machines.
So we're excited about that.
I had to get you with that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you guys don't know, we got Vin Diesel over here. This guy's crazy. He's cocked back, and you should be like a stunt double or something for that guy. You know what I mean? So,
but the building is just great, man. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't make it to this house because to this little vacation because the construction's going on. And
yeah, you were saying that.
I didn't want to miss a single day of progress, because I've been filming it all.
Sure.
But Hannah's like, don't worry, we'll be fine. The building's going to be good. Just go have fun. And I'm glad because I couldn't miss this event, and hanging out with all you guys. But hopefully early March, we'll be closing on our construction loan. Yep. And the house will start.
Yeah. What kind of home? Anything that stand out? Is it like a Mediterranean home, like a craftsman home? Anything cool?
It's more of a it's custom home, craftsman. All brick. I don't want to say average, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the inside of it.
Yeah.
Because there's two things now, and I've let Hannah run wild with it because
sure.
I don't want to sound bad, but all I cared about was my shop. Like,
yeah.
The building was. I'm a dude,
Yeah, I feel you. Give me the shop, you get the house.
Yeah,
I feel you.
The building was my thing, and the inside of it's all mine. And but I'm going to share it with her, of course. But
yeah.
I ran wild with it, and we're going to. And I was like, whatever you want with the house.
That's the trade-off, bro.
Yeah, just make it happen.
I get it.
But the inner kid in me.
Yeah.
Is coming out in two places because I think as a child we all love like little hideaways or forts or secret passageways or whatever, So there's going to be two places in the house where the inner child in me is coming out, and we're going to have a hidden pantry in the kitchen.
Yeah,
those are kind of popular. We saw one in a house we toured.
Yep.
The builder was like, hey, dude, open those doors right there, and they just look like cabinet doors.
Yep.
And I was like, I really don't care to. It's cabinets. He's like, Mitchell, open the doors.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine, dude. So I opened them up, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
I didn't even know hidden pantries existed.
Oh yeah.
But you could walk into this thing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a hidden pantry in the kitchen. Super excited.
Secret room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. And then upstairs. I don't know. I'm giving away this stuff, but anyways.
Yeah.
But upstairs, when you come up the steps, kind of go across the little breezeway landing area that's looks down on the rooms.
Yeah.
At the end of the hallway. To anyone, it will appear that there's just a bookcase, like a built-in bookcase.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually going to be like a pocket door.
Yeah.
And you slide the bookcase over, and then it'll be our bonus room.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about those. I'm nerding out about that.
I love it, man. I love it. Did you guys build this with the architect in mind,
yes.
builder in mind? Yeah. Those are fun conversations to have.
Yeah.
We're doing a couple fun similar things, and I feel like if you're already going all in, make it the way you want.
Exactly.
So that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
When do you guys break ground on all that?
Hopefully,
April.
Yeah, we're gonna close on the loan early mid-March.
Yeah.
Our builder's ready.
Yeah.
So,
ready to rock and roll.
Whenever he says go.
We're like 3 months riding your coattails, bro. Because
good.
I think our goal is to break ground in July. And then the pole barn. I'm not sure when I'm going to do the pole barn. Like I want to do it this fall. But at the same point, I might wait till the following spring. It just depends because I could load that thing up with 150 grand of equipment, and I'm like,
easy.
And it's like 20 minutes off site, and we've got great neighbors there, but still, like, me personally, like safety wise, you still live where your home
where my equipment is.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I don't know. Half the people we talked to said just build it, you'll be fine. The other half said like, maybe wait till you're like moved in.
Yeah.
So we'll probably build that like spring 2022.
Gotcha.
As the home's getting built, but I'm definitely jealous of the space like you're talking about, because I'm like, I got mowers, I got tractors coming, besides the regular equipment, and I'm like, yeah, I could definitely use some space right now, because I'm living out of, you know how this goes, but I had like one 10x10 unit. And then the summer it turned into 2 10x10s. Then we had 3 10x10s. So I'm paying, several hundreds of dollars. And I'm like, this is literally stupid.
Yeah, you're just
we're just throwing money away.
Throwing that money away.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, do I just like bridge it with put the Band-Aid on and just, in the meantime, or do we just go all in for a pole barn? But a pole barn for us is like $70,000. You know how this goes. And I'm like, Jesus, like what's the right move? And so we're just 1 foot in front of each other, just trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, once it's done, like you just said, I cannot wait to have like that man cave. We want to do like a little loft upstairs.
Oh yeah,
aren't you guys doing something? You said like that.
Yeah, the right side of our building is going to be a full length second floor.
Yeah.
60 feet long. We don't know the true dimensions of it yet until the building's actually done.
Right.
But on the right side of the building, when you come in, there will be a full length second floor.
Yeah.
Storage, loft, hangout area, whatever, and then the cardio room that's going to stack below the gym on the bottom. But super excited about it. And I got the idea to do that. I was originally going to do 12-foot eaves, which really wouldn't allow for like a full second floor. You could have something, but you're not going to walk around up there.
Yeah.
You could store stuff up there.
Yeah.
But who was it? I think Kevin Frost with Fall River was at Blake Hawthorne's shop, which is huge, like 8,000 square feet or something, like 80 by 100. I mean, it's a monster. But he's got a big business.
That's big.
And I kept looking at it, and I was like, his building's very tall. And they were building a second floor to do their little YouTube videos and stuff.
Right.
So I reached out to Blake Hawthorne, and I was like, hey, bro, this is what I'm planning. Tell me about your building.
Yeah.
And how tall, is it to the eaves? And he's like 16 feet. And I was like, that's what I need.
Yep.
So super excited about it. And a lot of people are like, why are you building your shop first? In the priority of the house?
Yeah.
With my current setup, all of my equipment is at my house.
Yeah.
And we can't leave there until I have a home for my equipment.
Right.
So that's why the shop's first.
I don't blame you. That makes sense. Yeah. I think ours is 16 high, but we had to do that for the 14 doors.
Yeah, I've got one 14 door.
Yeah, because if you want the RV,
you
got to have the 14.
Oh yeah, and it's great for resale value too. If you ever do sell your home years down the road.
I'm not, but I hear you.
You never know, but I'm saying
true.
It does help with that. When someone sees it, then they're like, oh.
Accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That makes sense. I don't know. I hope to, be the ripe old age of 90 and then, bury my ass in the backyard. But then to give my kids. I told my banker, I said, I don't know if you might appreciate this humor, because all this is a couple bucks, right? Like, let's just be honest. And I told my loan officer, and we talk like once every month or two, and he's like, asking when we're ready for the loan, and we're waiting for our 2020 tax returns to just be done and already get our quarterlies figured out, and just we're trying to be as conservative as possible,
of course,
financially, because it's going to be a lot of money. And he goes, so we're just talking like just topically. He's like, fixed mortgage, 30-year mortgage. This is the percents when you start. Once the loan's done, you can refinance it after a new construction loan and drop it down 1% and all this other mess. And
get rid of like mortgage insurance and all that crap.
We got to put 20% down for the custom. Well, he goes. I go, well, don't you guys have like if it's a custom home and it's like my forever home and my kids plan to get this thing, like, don't you have like a 60-year mortgage? And he's like, what? And I'm like, listen, bro, hear me out. Like 3-4% compounded, over 60 years. He's like, they don't do 60-year mortgages. I go, listen, I said, get your boss on the phone. You don't know how much money you're leaving on the table. And he goes, Fullerton, like, he's like, just drop this shtick.
Nobody here gives a crap about that.
I'm like, you're going to leave like $4 million in extra interest, by like taking this thing to term over 60 years. And he's like, I've been in mortgages for 20 years. Like, I've never heard anybody say that. I go, I'm trying to put money in your pocket. You're going to turn down $4 million in interest? He's like, that's not how this works. I go, but my kids are going to get the home,
Yeah.
I'm only going to be there for 30, 40, 50 years. But hopefully this thing's around for another 150 years, right?
Oh, yeah.
But they have no vision, Mitchell. They have no vision. I'm trying to put interest in their pocket.
People that work there are like, I don't give a crap what happens in 60 years. I'm not going to be here.
No, they just want their commission. Yeah, you're not wrong there.
They want to make that sell.
That's a fact, man. Well, hey, let's spun it up. The YouTube channel, this is where everybody can find a lot of this stuff. Obviously, a lot of folks know you from Instagram. The YouTube channel is Mitchell's Lawn Care.
Everything. I tried to keep it simple.
Yeah.
it's at Mitchell's Lawn Care LLC for 3 platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and the new YouTube channel.
There you go.
So try to keep it simple.
Absolutely, man. Well, as we're buttoning this thing up, hopefully you guys, when we're done, maybe tag this on Instagram. Maybe go to Mitchell's YouTube lawn care YouTube channel, and on his most recent video, say, "Hey, I heard your episode from Brian, and
Definitely.
you guys did a good job," something like that. We appreciate the feedback. But anything you want to leave these guys? Well, we got you. But if not, we'll button this thing up.
Just follow your intuition and stay hungry.
Stay hungry. I like it, man. Hey, you know what we got to do? I didn't talk to you about this until just right now, which is a great time to bring it up live on a podcast. But we got to go do like a video on your truck.
All right.
Because that's a sweet truck.
All right.
What is that again?
It was clean until I had this little rainstorm move through.
Oh,
but 2019 Ram Bighorn 2500 Cummins.
Yeah. Is it like any special edition, or you just got it like kind of blacked out?
It is the night edition.
Okay.
So there's no chrome, black wheels, black badge, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a reason why I went Bighorn. In their lineup, there was some things that I did not like. That's standard equipment on the Limited, which is the top of the line.
Okay.
And the Laramie. They're sweet trucks.
Yeah.
But I'm OCD about things, and
Yeah.
there was just little nuances about those 2 trim levels that I was like, oh, I don't like that. So I'm not going to pay $80,000-$90,000 for a truck if I don't love it.
Yeah.
So it's crazy because the dealership that I went to, I'll try to keep it short, but the dealership I went to is a high volume dealer. They're like one of the number 1 Ram truck sellers or dealers in the country.
Okay.
So they focus on high volume. If I'm not mistaken, they're one of the top sellers of Ram trucks. Mm-hmm. They have like 300 or 400, maybe 500 trucks in stock.
Yeah.
In their lots.
That's good inventory.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
So if you can't find a truck there that you like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, evidently there was something wrong with me because the truck I wanted
Go figure.
was not in there. Yeah, was not in their inventory. And I was like, I want to custom order one. He's like, we rarely have people custom order stuff here because of our inventory.
Right.
And I was like, well, can I? And they're like, of course you can.
Sure.
So I custom ordered that one to my specifications and what I wanted. So, and when I got done with it, he's like, why don't you just get a Laramie or Limited? Because you got a lot of these options. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this. He said, this is the highest spec Bighorn truck that we've ever ordered.
Right.
And he's like, you may have a hard time selling this. I was like, this is I don't care about, the resale is not why I'm here. I was like, this is my truck.
I want my truck.
Yeah. And I want it this way.
That's cool.
He said, all right, well, we'll order it. So
Sure.
there's a lot on that truck that you don't find on Bighorns and stuff like that. But I love it.
Well, we got a old video series. I used to do Truck Talk Tuesday when I bought my truck 3+ years ago now, and but it's a sweet truck. And when I didn't know you were bringing it because you were going to bring the little.
I was going to drive.
what is that thing?
I was going to drive. Yeah, I was going to drive Hannah's Honda Fit. It literally is like a go-kart.
I cannot imagine you driving that
it's
thing. It's
small. Now it gets like 45 miles a gallon on
That's
the interstate,
fair.
and that's the only reason I was going to drive it.
That's fair.
But then the more I thought about it, I was like, Hannah, I was like, for one, I can't miss the opportunity of the hype house.
Sure.
And I said, two, if I'm driving, a lot of people associate that truck with me or me with that truck, just like my orange shirts or, the image, and I said,
if you pulled up in a Honda Fit, I don't think I'd let you live it down.
And she has so many. I love her to death, but she loves stickers, and there's like stickers all over that thing. And she's got one that says "My Bulldog ate your stick family."
Oh my God, yeah.
So it's a good time, man.
I love those stick figure families.
Yeah,
like the zombie ones. Like my family ate your family, or whatever.
So I was like, you know what? I said the mileage doesn't matter. It's a tax write-off, whatever. I said I'm going to drive the truck. People, identify me with that truck and that truck with me. With the stickers and stuff. And it paid off. Like, as soon as I pulled up to Tampa International to pick up Blake and Natalie, Blake had his phone out recording the truck, so it worked. And then I was like, it's going to be at the meetup, So,
it's a sweet setup.
Yeah.
Well, we might go to do a little, a special Truck Talk Tuesday.
Let's do it.
Little 5 or 10 minute just walk around while we're here. It's definitely a sweet truck, and I love the new Rams. They are really nice.
Good looking, yeah.
I'm not a big Chrysler guy. You know what I mean? They don't really scream quality for me back at home, at least. But I will say your truck looks pretty pimp.
Thanks.
And I saw it in the driver the other day. I'm like, I told Liz, I go, that's a sweet truck, and she's like, no. She just said no. She goes,
he has already cost us enough money.
But I'll tell you this: if we keep growing the business and we get a foreman truck for Rob, and I got to get a second truck, we get another Ford. I'm definitely not going to do a Chevy. Shout out to all my Chevy people, but I'm not going to do another Chevy. But I said those new Rams.
Careful, man. You tread lightly because you may lose followers.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, people unfollow me anyway. So, but you can't say anything without being offensive, man. Like people want to cancel you for Ford versus Chevy, man, and it just goes from there.
It's a great debate.
Whatever, But yeah, you just bypass it, get the Ram, Well, let's do this. Let's button it up right here, man. I think we got to get running here anyway in a minute. We're going to the meetup.
The Green Industry Meetup.
That'll be fun, and I think we got 2 Toro mowers to give away, and hopefully bless somebody. That'd be pretty sweet to win. Yeah, I didn't win any stuff like that back in the day, man. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I don't win anything. I did win. I won a Exmark commercial 30-inch mower a few years ago.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah, like $2,000 mower.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was shocked.
I think the most I've ever got like as a giveaway was like an Exmark license plate. Swear to God. And you know what? When I got that thing, I was so happy, bro. I put that on my truck. I'm like, look at the license plate. My guy at the dealer was like, hey, dude, it's like $6. Like, he's like, if you want one, we got like 400 more in the back. I'm like,
I'll just give you one.
I was like, don't tell me that, But all right, well, let's do this. Let's kick it back over to Marty in the ATL to kind of button this thing up. We really appreciate your time being on the show. We'll get definitely a mid-season update with you, and I might even we'll see how the schedule looks this summer. Make an excuse to come on down.
Yeah.
Maybe when the barn
That'd be awesome.
and the new shop is all set up. Before I pull the trigger on mine, see, like you said, some of those things you learn, some things that you regret, all that kind of fun stuff, and that's the best part about doing all this kind of content. From YouTube to the podcast, the Instagram, we all learn from each other. We're all inspired by each other.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're dropping big coin and big ticket items like that, it's always good to pick the brain of somebody who's been there, done that.
Yeah.
Amen.
So far, I have not made any mistakes. So
hopefully,
I hope that I have asked all the right questions to people that before me. So
well, here, knock on wood.
Aluminum or something.
Knock on aluminum, right? So, all right, guys. Well, let's kick it back over to Marty, and thanks again for listening to this episode of the podcast. Don't forget to leave those all important 5-star ratings and reviews if you guys haven't done that yet. Just let Mitchell know how he did. Give him a 5-star, little bump there. We really appreciate that, and we'll catch up with you guys here on the next one.
Thank you.
Marty here. It's Saturday morning as I'm putting together this podcast, and early every morning, I do mean every morning, I check my bank account. I have to do this after the Mrs. Responded to an email from a Nigerian prince, so I've got to make sure that Prince Hakeem from Zamunda isn't siphoning off any more money. Well, lo and behold, somebody sent me $1,400. I'm guessing it's a stimulus check. Now, I'm going to use that to invest back into my career. I'm planning on getting some training courses on podcast production and voiceover, stuff like that. You may want to consider doing something similar to benefit your career path, and naturally, let me suggest the whole ball of wax over at launchpreneuracademy.com. You know the thing, you know the deal by now, so I'm not going to rehash it, but click the link in the notes, check it out, and see if that might just be a great way to stimulate your business. Ballard Innovative Products is a full line of gear for the lawn and landscape professional. From mower gear, safety gear, trailer racks, equipment securement, equipment servicing tools, aerators, mower blades, X-blades, aluminum baggers, and much more to make you efficient, effective, safe, and profitable in the field. Check out Ballard-Inc.com to help dominate and elevate your business. Ballard Innovative Products. With over 20 years of selling accessories and 30 years in the business, we're sure that we've got something you can't live without. We appreciate the support and look forward to serving you this season. Stay safe and keep grinding, friends. And don't forget to use Brian's 10 to save 10% at Ballard-Inc.com.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.